Welcome everyone, I'm Amy, I'm an NPC bikini competitor, just barely 3 weeks out, and also a nutritional therapy practitioner, and this is my prep vlog. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe how fast this prep has gone, like thinking back on it, and just knowing now that we only have a couple of weeks left, it's like panic, like all the things that I need to start doing, which I'm sure I'll talk more about in this video. But in the intro this week, we're going to talk about what are my coach's feedback. If you missed last week's video, I link it here. It doesn't seem like it ever shows up YouTube, but I do put the little edit thing in here. Should be linked right there. My video from last week, so you can see what I sent for my check-in. I've been checking in multiple times a week, and that's kind of the way it's going to be. So in the intro, I'll just talk about like my main feedback from like my big check-in, and then I'll do all of the smaller kind of check-in feedbacks throughout the week in the outro. But I did get feedback not very long after I sent my check-in last week from Tommy, and it was great because number one thing he put was to reduce my steps down to 25,000 or to 25,000. Oh, I was doing 16,000. He reduced them to 12,500, which, that in and of itself, I mean, even though, yes, I know I've mentioned like that I've had a reduced cardio, which is great, but man, getting those 16,000 steps has still been tough. He said, dig day diet today and tomorrow as of now. I may switch it by Monday. I'll try to give you as much notice as I can. And I said, step reduction is amazing. I will keep dig daying until you say otherwise. So I mentioned that I got the peptides in my last video as well. So I'd asked him about how to use the glow. I was thinking about splitting the dose between my posterior thighs. So Glow Blend, I didn't really talk a whole lot about this in my last video, and I'm new to using this. This is the first time for me. Is a peptide that can help with skin integrity and also hopefully give me a little bit of skin tightening in the areas that I really need it. So I really want to focus it kind of on my glutes and the back of my legs, which is where I really need, that's where not just gravity and age, but also I lose all my fat on my butt when I prep and it just gets very flat. So until I can have a lot more muscle back there to help, that's really the area that I want to use it the most. I wish I had gotten it sooner, but it'll still be something that I'll continue to use into the off season. And he said that, yes, that even just doing it in the glutes is still going to give me the effect I'd like. It does burn. Like I said in my last week's video, it doesn't burn. The injection itself feels like nothing. Like it doesn't burn at all going in, but about 20 minutes later, like it really set in, just really intense, like almost like you have a really sore muscle kind of feeling, like right at the site of the injection. And it is a very shallow injection. It's just a sub-Q, so it's not going deep into the muscle, but whew, man, does it come with some definite discomfort afterwards. So yeah, he said, yeah, even if you hit the glow in the glutes, it will do what you're looking for. And I said, awesome. He said, let's get it. I'll look out for those photos from you later. Because remember, he wanted pictures of me post-workout. So this is the next day. So I did send pictures after my workout. I said, post-leg day, had a meal about 2.5 hours ago, about 120 ounces of water so far. Oh, I'll put those pictures here. I'll be honest, this was the first workout that felt kind of like trash. It did. Still hit all of my weights from last week, but my legs were pretty shaky. Totally normal for 2 weeks and 6 days out, LOL. Yeah, so it is the first workout that I've had where I just kind of, like I said, just kind of felt like trash. It just did not feel, yeah, I just felt shaky and like it was, not to say it wasn't fun, but yeah, it didn't feel like fun. It felt like work, which is expected. And I have been increasing my weights throughout this prep, especially on some of my bigger movements, which has been really surprising. And yesterday, I mean, even though I was feeling pretty trashy, I still managed to do that split squat of death, which is it's split squats with a drop set. So you do eight reps, hold for 10 at the bottom, switch down, drop to the next lower weight, eight reps, hold for 10, next weight, 8 reps, hold for 10. And I still managed to do that with the 80, the 50, and the 30. So that was still good. And they just, like I said, it just didn't feel great. It felt like I'm doing this, I'm getting through this, but that's it. And I did. And I still love working out. So it was fine. He said, time to pull back 1 working set from each exercise on all days. This looks so good. I said, okay, we'll reduce sets for the rest of my workouts this week. Makes me feel like a weak sissy, but I know it's important not to get hurt right now. So he and I joked back and forth a little bit about, getting leaner, getting stronger, all that stuff. And that was it. So that was what he sent for. Oh, yeah. I'm going to send pictures tomorrow. So I will do that. And he asked for check-ins like every other day, which I will do as well. So that is kind of the plan for the week. Like I said, we are just under 3 weeks out, which is just crazy to even think of that. The things I definitely need to do this week, I know I mentioned this in my last week video, that I need to start shaving and I need to continue that process. It's been kind of cold, and so I've been like hesitating. I was even thinking of this morning when I was out for my walk, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like shave my arms today. And I'm like, but it's going to be cold, because when you're this lean or this close to show, like it's amazing how even just having like that little bit of like peach fuzzy hair really does keep you warmer. So when you start shaving everything off, like, oh man, it gets cold, but it'll only be cold for a couple of weeks. There's a day coming up this week that I think our high is in the 40s. Ooh, prepping in the cold time of year. This is why I like doing summer shows, because it's warm. Remember my show from last year, my first show of the season that was in August, it was like 100 degrees that day. And I was just laying out on the sidewalk in between prejudging of finals. Oh, that was so nice. It was so warm. I was like a lizard on a rock. It was fantastic. So yeah, well, that's what I've got for the intro this week. I'm not sure what else is coming in this video. I do have a posing session later in the week, but that footage might not make it until next week's video, just depending on when I have time to edit. But I am posing with Tori again. The thing I really kind of need help with now is just kind of putting it all together, like getting a little bit better flow with my posing. I feel like it's getting better, but it's tough it's been, over a year since I've done a bikini show. So that's why I like doing two shows kind of closer together in a season, because you kind of get one to get the jitters out and to kind of, work out the kinks, and then another one to like really do it. But this time I've only got one, so I get one shot at this. So got to make it a good one. But if you guys do have any questions, comments, thoughts, anything you'd like to see, anything you want me to talk about as I get closer to peak week, let me know. Leave those in the comments section below. And I will see you all here in whatever comes next. So this is going to be my very last posing session with Tori before my show. And one of the things that she and I have not worked on at all yet is walking. And my walk needed a lot of work. So we spent some time in the beginning kind of working on the transition from the back to the front. And then we spent a lot of time working on my walk. Working on just some hand positions with this transition from the front to the back pose, or from the back to the front pose, doing a little kind of intentional arm flap. And then she sent me some pictures that I came over and took a look at. And now we start working on the walk. And I had a lot to work on here. Tori has such great tips and helpful things, when she's teaching things, and you'll see right here, we're working on just getting that hinge movement at the hip and allowing, I think she very nicely put it, like allowing my legs to move like people legs and not like sticks, like I was moving them before. So kind of integrating that and I'm over exaggerating it here, but getting a little more of that hip movement in, and really working on kind of like getting my glute to show a little bit in my walk. So, starting from so it's a work in progress, very, very much a work in progress, but it has helped a lot, and I'm getting better. Who knew that something as simple as walking could be so hard? Now we practice walking to the back. That is something that I've never had to do at a show. They usually only have you do it on a local level if it's like a really tight comparison, which it rarely is on the local level. So we spent a lot of time doing that. kind of just how to go about doing that. And I'm really glad that she had me do that, because up until that point, I had never even really practiced that, because it just seemed like something that would probably not come up for me. And I don't think that it will. And she said the same thing. She's like, there's literally like a 0.1% chance that I would do this at a local show, but I'm so glad that she had me practice it and gave me a lot of things to work on as well. We're back. It is the end of the week, and guess who's back? Back again. Straight hair Amy is back again. I've clearly been playing around with the Dyson Airwrap again and getting some nice bouncy curls. I'm feeling, sorry, the lines are back. Feeling a little more consistent with the time it's going to take. I think that's like the biggest thing that I've been playing around with, is just making sure that I have the timing correct, because on show day, there's a lot going on. And of course I'm getting my makeup done by my nail tech, who's also my friend Patty. So I have to know how long it's going to take me to do my hair and then go get my makeup done and all that kind of stuff. So a lot to think about, but I'll talk about that more maybe in the intro to next week. For now, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about what I sent for my check-in this week. And it's really different. So because I am checking in, my coach, I think, said every other day. Sorry, there is a dog that has been barking for like the last, I don't know, feels like 1,000 years. And I kept thinking it would stop. So I was waiting to record and it hasn't. So if you hear the dog barking, it's annoying me too. So because we're checking in so regularly, it's basically ultimately been every day. It was kind of like every other day is what he said, but then we've just basically been checking in every single day. So there isn't one like real formal check-in. I still kind of sent one on Saturday just to kind of have those stats, but really we just kind of hit the ground running. So starting with Monday morning, I think this was Monday. Oh my gosh, the dog. I don't know what it's barking at. It's barking a lot. So sent pictures and my weight, and Tommy asked if I train after meal 1, and I said yes. And he said, you're okay with getting protein powder back in your diet? And I wrote back, OMG, yes. So he sent me this. He said, this is the diet at least until Tuesday. You can start it today if you have time. And I had time. So I wrote, oh wow, yes, I can start this today. So it was Sunday. So he said, please send me post photos and weight. And I said, post workout weight. And he said, yes. And I said, okay. And he said, try to get some rotation in the fruit choices. I get fruit back in most of my meals. And I said, I will. So then I did send my weight post workout and my post workout pictures. And then, weights that night, the next morning, and then the next morning, and the next night. So then Tuesday, we're up to Tuesday. I sent pictures because he'd asked for pictures on Tuesday. Sent pictures with my weight. I guess I will insert those pictures here. Here. He said, more food and tighter. We win. He said, repeat post-workout photos, please. So I sent pictures after my workout and I sent my weight and he said, thank you. And I said, thank you. So then nighttime weight, morning weight. And he said, here we go. Same menu today. Try to get post-workout photos and weight. And I said, will do. So I sent these pictures and my weight I don't know why I didn't get a picture of myself in my kind of model transition pose. I don't know what I did. And he asked if I was training tomorrow, and I said yes, that I had pole day tomorrow. And he sent me another updated diet. And I wrote back 15 grams of honey. I said rice cakes, honey, and salt is literal heaven. I said it's still delicious without the salt. So my post-workout meal, I actually get a post-workout meal again. My post-workout meal is rice cakes and honey. Oh, I do a little bit of cinnamon on it, but man, to do some salt on that too would be amazing. He said, you're very flat at this point, and we are really going to be able to keep adding food a little bit at a time. Clean up any water, which I'm guessing there won't be much the way you're processing food the way you are. So then I sent to him this picture, here, of I said, slight difference in posing and lighting, but crazy how much more size I have in my legs this year at nearly the same weight. Picture on the right was 2 days post-show last year, so that's why I'm tan, because it was just a couple days after my show. So obvious differences in the lighting, the posing, and the tan. But my weight was about the same, and I was really surprised to see that. Yeah, I was really happy to see that. And he said, don't neglect that shoulder size too. Yes. So then again, pictures or weight, morning and night. And he said, time to eat when I sent the pictures. And I sent him the song Honey from Mariah Carey. I said, literally the song in my head right now, hitting back and then honey. I love honey. So then on Thursday, I had my posing session with Tori, and I sent these pictures after my posing session just to get a picture in different light and with, different amount of food in. I said, just finished posing. I've got food to eat. And he asked for my weight, which I was able to get. It was on a different scale, so I just used the scale that we have at work, sent that. I also found out that my posing coach, Tori, might be at my show, which would be so cool. So I told him that. And then weight, pictures. He said, same diet as yesterday. And I said, okay, it's my rest day. And he said, same diet anyway. So that was kind of how things went. That's what I mean. So throughout the week, I was checking in every single day. So it was a lot. So then Saturday, which is my normal check-in day, I said, good morning, Tommy. Gave my weight from today and from last Saturday. I said, stats and subs below. I added in, I think I mentioned this in my video last week, that I got some peptides that I was excited to try, the Glow peptide. And I tried it. So it's supposed to be really good for skin health and skin tightening, the GHK copper. So I said I used it twice, and both times had really intense post-injection pain, swelling, and bruising. And I still have the bruises and the swelling a week later. So I don't mind the pain, but I think I should hold off until post-show due to the site swelling. Said brain and energy coming back to life with the extra food and carbs. And that really was more Thursday, Friday. I started feeling like I have brain function again, which was really good. My average glucose, my sleep score, my resting heart rate, and then my supplements. I'm currently doing a 6-day push-pull legs. He had pulled cardio completely, and my steps, I don't think I mentioned that he dropped my steps down to 12,500. So yeah, that was it. So that was what I sent for my check-in, and to hear what the plan is for next week, to get my feedback from my coach. That'll be in next week's video. The other thing that I might do in next week's video, I've been kind of thinking about doing it, is I've realized that I have a lot of energy drinks in my fridge and a lot of different kinds. I've really kind of branched out from the monsters this prep to try other types of energy drinks. So I might do a gigantic fridge clean out energy drink review. Oh my gosh, the dog. Nope, I thought it stopped, but there it started again. So yeah, other than that, I have lots to do to get ready for my show. I did finally book my tan, but I still need to register for the show. And I need to pack my show day bag, and I need to start skin prep. And I mean, it's going to go so fast. So, the weeks I can't even believe how fast it has gone, and that we are already here and yeah, ready to go. So that's all I got for this one. Until next time, please, please, please spread positivity and light to yourself and everyone around you. You are worthy, you deserve it. There have been days here in the last week that have been in the 20s, so I hope wherever you are staying warm, you're enjoying fall, you had a happy Halloween, all the things. If you have any questions, comments, please leave those in the comments below, and I would be so appreciative if you would follow my channel or subscribe, and give this video a like, and I will see you all here next time.